continue. We will move to item number 2, which is the approval of the agenda. Do we have any comments or revisions? As I see or hear none, I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
I will make a motion to approve the agenda.
A second.
Roll call, please.
President Latu,
Aye.
Vice President Shibomahi,
Aye.
Trustee Bloom.
Aye.
And the motion carries 3-0. We will move on to item number 3, which is closed session. Before we enter into closed session, I will open the floor if there are any individuals that wish to address the board on anything related to what we will be discussing in closed session. This is your time. As I see no hands are raised, we will continue into closed session. We will be back at 7:15 p.m. I'll see you on the other side.
And do you have more time?
Welcome back, everyone. I will reconvene open session at 7:16 p.m. I would also like to acknowledge that we have two more board members that are in attendance. And also, we have Spanish language translation that is available. If you need it or would like to utilize that, we have the interpretation feature below. Trustee Polito, can you please translate that as well?
Trustee Latu, I think she might be on the,
Oh, okay, noted.
yeah.
So we will, oh, sorry. So we will move on. So
I'm sorry, can you hear me?
yes.
I don't know why I was muted, sorry. So, si quisiera escuchar esta junta en español, por favor oprime el icono de interpretación bajo de su pantalla. Muchísimas gracias.
Thank you. So now we will move on and to item 4A, which is report of action. So there was discussion during closed session, but there was no action that was taken. Moving on to item number 5, which is from the floor. So if there's anyone who's in attendance that wishes to address the board on anything that is not agendized, that is not on this agenda, this is your time. You can use the hand raise function and you'll be given 2 minutes to speak. I see no hands, so we will move on to item number 6, which is the consent agenda. And so I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Thank you.
I second.
Roll call, please.
President Latu,
Aye.
Vice President Shabomaheen,
Aye.
Trustee Alexander,
Aye.
Trustee Polito,
Aye.
Trustee Bloom.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. We will move on to item number 7, which is from the superintendent's office.
Thank you. All right. Well, I am excited to just give an update about our welcome back message and our first few days, 2 days of school to share with the board. I understand that a few trustees were able to make it to our welcome back on Friday. So I'll be sharing a little bit about that and then also share some photos and events and introduce our site administration. So on Friday, we prefaced the purpose of coming together by emphasizing that it was an opportunity to create a community where we learn about each other authentically so we can work in solidarity as co-conspirators, creating a home place for all students, families, and staff to thrive in an anti-racist organization. The outcomes from coming together, what we were trying to accomplish was emphasizing the need to protect our children's potential, build a home place, and start the work from the inside out. So we needed to make a commitment to make every attempt to learn about our children as whole human beings and to raise their voice and to teach them from their place of excellence. And then in regards to building a home place, we want to set expectations about how we're going to treat others, learn from one another, fellow colleagues. Zorana Hammond mentioned the importance of listening with grace and the need to support each other while holding each other accountable to become anti-racist organization and to hold up our mission in our anti-racist statement. And in regards to starting the work from the inside out, we wanted to begin to engage with the concept that we need to do a lot of self-reflection, a lot of self-examination as our own culture, within our, about our own culture. Again, Zaretta Hammond, who is the author of Culture Responsive Teaching in the Brain, states that if we want to be successful with our own culturally diverse students, we must first accept and understand ourselves as cultural beings and how our own culture values shape our expectations about children and each other. So instead of just doing our traditional introduction where we introduce different departments and school sites, I wanted to emphasize that we are one Ravenswood collectively, and that let's introduce each other differently. So with Zoom, you're able to break out into random breakout groups. And so between board members that were present, to custodians, bus drivers, to principals, we all intermingled, introduced ourselves that way. And then an opportunity to reflect on some quotes too that our executive team members shared with me that encouraged them to think about how to start off this year. And so we broke out into two sessions twice. That's kind of redundant. We broke out into two sessions where we just did a simple introduction, and then with the same group, we dig deeper in some quotes. We also had a chance to introduce our special guests, our board of trustees, and then also our Ravenswood Education Foundation. Melee said a few words. Thank you, Trustee Melee. And then also Jenna, the executive director for the Ravenswood Education Foundation, also shared a few words on behalf of the foundation. In regards to protecting our students' potential, you can read the quote here by Dr. Patina Love, who I will raise several of her quotes from her book, We Want to Do More Than Just Survive. She also spoke to our staff on Monday and reiterated the emphasis of making sure that we protect our children's potential. This student here, I'll share a quick video of her reciting her own spoken word. And here, this student's name is a former Ravenswood student who just graduated from the 8th grade, Rhonda Lenny Ward. And she emphasizes here the need for us to not to overlook any student, any child. And I'll go ahead and just play her. Actually, I have to stop sharing. I'll share again because I have to make sure there is sound.
I used to think of myself as the forgotten, as a petunia that fell from a bush into the thick concrete, a plant that would never be able to replant itself, but would instead later rot, where this petunia would constantly be smashed by the sneakers of those who walked by, or perhaps burned by the sun. As petals fall off this once beautiful petunia, parts of me began to fall off and become disconnected, discouraged, discombobulated, even disfigured, until my petals, my gifts were spread, and all I was left with was to look at my shallow core, the core that laid brown and dark secrets caved in by me. But maybe there is hope for little old petunia like me. Maybe a crack in the cement which allowed dirt to escape, a new opportunity. Maybe the right wind or the right angle, I just might grow, like Tupac's rose in concrete. Watch me blossom, watch me regrow, watch my petals loom in and my giving tree starts to grow. Watch my leaves tower over my lost dreams. Watch my leaves touch the shoes on power lines. Watch me make it out because my tears watered and grew my roots. I made it out because I found my roots. Or maybe I made it out because I had to lose all of my roots. So who am I? I'm more than the forgotten. I'm more than the rose that you knew which grew from concrete. I'm the beautiful petunia which sprouted from a bush of dead weeds in the middle of these streets.
So Lenny emphasizes again that our children must leave Ravenswood City School District with their spirits intact. And so we emphasized on Friday that all of us here must learn about their excellence and build upon their cultural wealth and upon the cultural wealth of not only the students, but our community here in East Palo Alto. Wanting to also emphasize that, as Bettina Love mentioned, we do not want to perpetuate our educational system to be a place that mimics the outside world where they're constantly having to fight and struggle and merely survive. We want to create a place instead where Cesar Chavez Ravenswood Middle School, where Lenny just came from, Belhaven Elementary School, Los Robles Ronald McNair and Castaño School of the Arts, to not only look like the world they live in, but where we teach them how to be, we don't want to teach them just how to be compliant and just endure life. You know, we want them to be able, quote unquote, to raise hell and to know and how to advocate for themselves and to be change agents, right? So we don't also just want to love our students and root them on, you know, and encourage them, you know, and not just that, we want to make sure that we equip them with the necessary skills so they can make the best decisions for themselves and be independent thinkers and learners. In regards to building a home place where folks truly matter to each other, where souls are nurtured, comforted, and fed, we want to again create that expectation where we're constantly learning from one another, but also holding us accountable. And so we can't not only disrupt, but we have to dismantle the racist structures and social inequities that we have inadvertently replicated in our own schools because we're in the midst of it, right? And we've been raised by the same system that we're trying to revamp and do different. So we have to constantly reevaluate. We are going to either be racist or anti-racist. Ibram Kendi stated this, that we will need to make a day-to-day choice, maybe moment-by-moment choices as we work closely with children. Where will each of us land? See, a racist is someone who is supporting a racist policy by their actions or inaction or expressing a racist idea. An anti-racist is someone who is supporting an anti-racist policy by their actions or expressing an anti-racist idea. We could easily fall into either camp moment by moment, day by day. So becoming an anti-racist requires persistent self-awareness, constant self-criticism, and regular self-examination. And we're gonna have to hold each other accountable to be an anti-racist organization, and status quo is not okay. So in fact, status quo in a sense is building an equity by design. So difficult decisions are going to have to be made. And the work here is going to be bold work. You don't have to be Black in order to do this work. You just have to be bold and brave. And Dr. Patina Love mentioned that if there is an issue going on, you don't just walk by a classroom when you see something that doesn't feel right or it's not okay in there. You have to call them out and call them in. You can't just point it out. You have to be responsible enough and accountable to pull each other in and have difficult conversations. So our anti-racist statement that we developed as a staff and we've shared with the Board of Trustees is the following. The Ravenswood City School District acknowledges that racism has an inherent and permanent impact on our students' lives. We actively work to systematically dismantle the racist structures and practices in our schools. In order to be anti-racist, we must rely on the communities we serve to guide and inform the decisions we make about our curriculum, program, and practice, examine every policy, curriculum assessment, and personnel decision and make changes as necessary, root our work and centered around the rich cultures of our students, families, and community, provide learning environment and opportunities that help students and staff be self-aware, to self-reflect, have empathy, understand societal context, and practice abolitionist teaching. And then we must develop student self-advocacy to be an agent of change and through explicit anti-racist discussion, practice, and action. And one thing I love about our mission in regards to Ravenswood City School District empowers every student to fully engage in their education creatively and critically, the skills and mindsets necessary to successfully fulfill their unique potential, is that when we think about empowering every student, that means we stand behind them, we know them, and we make them feel that we see them and they are protected so that they are free of letting go. They can let go of any type of stereotype, threat, or anything that triggers their amygdala in terms of what makes them feel safe or not safe. And they can dive into the work and persevere through productive struggle, knowing that if they don't understand something, they know that the adults around them in the room are going to support them through that learning. And there's no judgment. There's just support with the understanding that we're here to lift and build upon excellence. Again, I want to reinforce the fact that we need to teach cognitive skills and reinforce their grit and zest at the same time, protecting the potential so that they become one who can raise hell and persist with resistance when necessary. In regards to our strategic plan, LCAP, and our SIPSA, we need to constantly compare these big plans against our anti-racist statement and make sure that they're constantly in line and that we don't have any practices in place that will perpetuate an educational structure that harms our children and sets lofty goals SMART goals that will help them succeed. In regards to our strategic plan and our LCAP and our SIPSA, we will be presenting, the school sites will be presenting new school plans. We've just initiated our LCAP, our local control accountability plan, and we're in the middle of our 5-year strategic plan. So I want to emphasize too, this work is not necessarily just the students' work. This is the adults' work too. We must make sure that we're constantly reflecting from the inside out. And I'm going to use a term that one of our educators mentioned in terms of wrestling with ourselves in this process about what we thought we were doing right and what we need to make changes around. And that they coined it as philosophical funk, right? We're just constantly thinking about how to move forward and do things differently, really not knowing exactly if you're putting the right foot in the right place, but learning from one another to help us make sure, and cross-referencing with studies and text. How do we do this better is simply, begin with the commitment to want to do better and to improve. And so that it is requiring self-examination. You can see here Zaretta Hammond's idea of the different levels of culture, surface, shallow, and deep. And so we do need to do our own self-identification in terms of our own cultural framing and reference. And then in regards to like widening our aperture in regards to interpreting different cultures, we need to recognize that our interpretation of other cultures is based on our own. And so we misread things quite frequently. And so we just need to be cognizant of that and be aware of triggers, and us also needing to manage our own emotional response to certain behaviors. We want to be culturally responsive and not culturally reactive. In the midst of all of that, we also need to find joy. But Tina Love mentioned that joy makes the quest for injustice sustainable. And in order to continue to dream of the possibilities, we have to be joyful in the work. And she also mentions that joy is necessary to be in solidarity with others, knowing that your struggle for freedom is constant, but that there is beauty in the camaraderie of creating a just world. And this picture here is quite fun. If you go to Bellhaven Elementary School's Instagram page, you will actually see them in action. If you know the whole game Hungry Hippo, that's actually what they're trying to reenact there as they're building community. Because remember, this is the first time too that the two schools that merged together, Bellhaven and Willow and Brentwood and Castano, are actually on campus together completely. And so they're also building a culture amongst each other. I also wanted to share with you that we did have a teacher who passed away this summer, Gloria Valencia. Gloria served for 19 years as a paraeducator, inclusion specialist, and teacher. And I specifically put her in this place of the presentation. And I won't share her video specifically, but there is a video of Gloria where she's sitting on the beach, struggling through an illness and fighting a good fight, but in the midst of the fight, still being able to express joy in the moment. And it was very suited for her to be in this position to share with us the importance of continuing to see the possibilities and the opportunity while we are here to keep fighting the good fight. Our first day of school was yesterday, and I emphasize that we want to continue to keep teaching in a manner where our students' crowns, keep their crowns in place while we protect their potential and build upon their excellence. We've created some wonderful classrooms. Here is a classroom. Let's see, show you. I have a couple just to share, just in case you're not on campus anytime soon. This is prior to, I don't know how the teachers do it, but they do it every single time, where piles of material and desks are in the middle of the room and they make this magic happen. And then there's one more. Here's another classroom. These are only 3 of many, but it does highlight some of the great spaces that our teachers have created to welcome our families and students. Our students are on campus. This is Castaño School. Here we have Bellhaven. Here's Bellhaven as well. And this is our middle school. We had over 1,300 students on campus yesterday and today. And we hope after the regular vaccines and counting independent study as well, that our numbers will increase above 1,500. Here are pictures too of family members and students in action and our teachers. This is a parent melee, and she has already had 3 children at Bellhaven, and she was inquiring about her little one here who's 4 years old. They can enroll in transition kindergarten, and we're like, yes, come. So generations upon generations of families are still coming to our schools, and we want to encourage and welcome all families to our 4 schools. And then of course we have our principals here. I have them in action. I figured that would be more appropriate since they've been busy getting us all of our campuses ready. And I also wanted to make sure we bring them to the forefront so they can say hello. We have Alex Quezada, we have Amanda Kemp, Michelle Masuda, and Robin Pang Manganeris. While we're waiting for them to be moved forward to the front, Salome, if you don't mind pulling them out from the attendees to the panelists, you guys could be amused by this right here. I said, which one's the principal? Having a good time. Yes, if they're not riding their bike around campus or, you know, swinging on the swings, telling kids how to swing properly, or doing a video assembly school-wide so all the students can meet them, you won't find them in their office, that's for sure. And I think they're really excited about being able to not sit behind a screen and actually go into classrooms. Oh, and here they are. Yay. Y'all want to say hello really quick? We have Amanda Kemp, Michelle, Robin, and Alex. They made it. They had a couple of long days. So I know I thank you so much for attending this evening after getting ready this week for school. So I'm sure you're looking forward to Friday. Any few words that y'all want to say? Hello? How was it? Not to put you on the spot, to put you on the spot. Amanda.
I loved having kids again. It makes it all worth it when you got the kids again.
Absolutely. Robin, looks like you're still in the office. You want to share any words, Robin?
Sure. As Amanda said, it's amazing to have kids on campus. It really is a joy to see them. And right now we're doing our best to learn how to be a school and, you know, getting out routines in place. And so it's a great, big, wonderful learning time.
Michelle, thank you, Robin. You were doing a school-wide announcement on the big screen across all the classrooms. I had to participate in that.
Yeah, you know, it's great to have everyone on campus, but we're still trying to be safe at the same time. So we did a school-wide assembly on Zoom. I guess that's the perks of having Zoom, right? So we're still putting it to good use without burning everybody's eyes at the same time. And it's just nice to see everyone back, like Amanda mentioned. All the little ones running around. They're so excited to meet new friends. It's great. It's a good feeling.
Thanks, Michelle. Alex.
Echoing what everyone's saying, kind of rebuilding our stamina as well. We often talk about how the students need to kind of relearn school. Well, we're kind of relearning how to stay there late again and, practice being out there on the recess field. A really good buzz though. A very nice, positive, energetic buzz across the entire school with parents and students and staff, of course. And so we're super excited to be back.
Thanks, Alex. Yeah, I just hats off to you all and thank you so much for what you all been able to accomplish. Not present, but working hard. We have our vice principal. So at the middle school, we have David Hicks for 6th grade, Julie Gaspari for 7th grade, and Kendra Grad, who are our VPs, or she's the VP for 8th grade. Those are our 3 VPs at the middle school. And then we have Stuart Shiriyashi, who is the VP at Bellhaven, and Zinga Williams is the VP at Castania. And Alex is holding it down at Los Robles Ronald McNair. Thank you. We also acknowledged years of service as well. So we had several 5 years of service, 10, 15, 20, and 25, about 50 individuals. I won't spare you, but we did have an opportunity to acknowledge and say thank you to all of them for their service in Ravenswood. And that's the update. Oh, I do want to let you know, there's still things that we want to work on. There's still relationships that we want to build. And, as they were saying, or Alex mentioned, getting our legs back underneath us again. All of the adults are trying to work that out. So dismissal time, we're working around how to improve dismissal time. Supervision, we just want to make sure we tighten everything up and then make sure our campuses as well are in good condition for our students. So there's still, we are informed of things that need to improve, and we want to be as responsive as possible. That is it.
Thank you. Do we have any comment from the board?
I will speak as a board member and a parent because I have been on 2 of the 4 campuses for drop-offs in the morning for the last 2 days. It's interesting to drop off 2 kids, even if they're like 2 miles apart. But they are so excited and they are so happy to be on campus. My daughter was like, I love school. I love 1st grade more than kindergarten because she didn't think she was going to have that happen. But she just loves being on campus, being with all her friends and her teachers. My son tried to act like he didn't like school. He's like, I don't like school because he's in TK, first campus, new campus, without his sister. And as I talked to him last night and this morning, he had like 100 things to say, like, oh, and my teacher has a snake and it doesn't bite. And I was like, oh, wow, okay. And it's not poisonous. And we got to have big swings in the playground. He's just so super excited. And I'm just so thankful to be part of this district and that my kids are here and they are totally enjoying it. Some of the perks are that I get to see some pictures of Liliana, who's at Los Robles, who is so happy to be back. And in the picture was like her little shot of what she wrote in Spanish. And I'm just like, that is all Los Robles right there. She wrote a whole paragraph in Spanish, more than I would even be able to create on my own with my 6 years of high school and college Spanish. So I just want to say, like, the education, the welcome back, I was part of Castaño's welcome back this morning as well in the assembly. I'm that parent that's ready to not have to be there with their kids in the morning because I think he can handle it. But we are definitely doing stuff to make sure that parents at every level, whether they're their parent that can like kiss their kid and be like, bye, see you, or the parent that needs to go in with the kid and the kid has to kiss the parent and say, bye, see you. We are doing every single thing that we can do at Ravenswood to make sure every single parent is feeling comfortable. I ran into a parent who is sending their kid to Cesar Chavez, and they actually went to a private school for elementary school. And she was just like, it's great. They love it. She's like, they have to do COVID tests and they're not that, like, they're kind of scared about it. I was like, but that's good, right? And she was like, yes, it is, and so just being able to offer all of those things to our students, I'm just super excited and happy to be part of it. And I'm so proud of all of the teachers and the staff who are out there making sure our kids are safe, making sure our kids are learning, and making sure, most importantly, that they're having fun and they are making relationships. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Do we have any other comments?
Trustee Lato, I just want to emphasize, you mentioned the testing. So our testing will start next week for the weekly testing for staff who are not vaccinated or staff who are vaccinated and want to do the testing. And then we're also pushing for our families to please complete the consent forms. If you weren't part of the cohort during the spring who came back, because we could still use those consent forms. But if you are new and coming back to campus, we need you to complete the consent forms so that we can test weekly and just make sure we remain as safe as possible. And then we have our after school program with the Boys and Girls Club at all of our sites. And we want to encourage folks to sign up for that. They are committed to not have a wait list. And the sign up form is on our website on the banner that pops up as soon as you click on the website. So we're really grateful for the partnership with the Boys and Girls Club of the Peninsula.
Wonderful. If there is no additional comments, I will also open up for public comment. As I see none, we will move on to item number 8, which is from our Human Resources Department. I will kick it off to Tony Stone.
Thank you, President Latu. So the first item is the disclosure of RTA and Ravenswood district initial proposals. And they're both for the 2021 and 21-22 school year contract reopeners. This item is a discussion item, so it allows input from the public and also from the board. So our CSD and RTA will be reopening Article 12 compensation for 2020-2021. And we'll be reopening Article 12 compensation and Article 8 evaluation for 2021-2022.
Thank you. Do we have any comments from either the board or the public? All righty. We will move on to 8B. Nope.
Yes.
Yes, 8B.
Yes, thank you. 8B is the consideration to adopt the Ravenswood City School District initial proposals. So this is a board action item.
Noted. So 8B and 8C are both action items.
8B.
8B is an action item. 8A was a discussion item, and then 8D will also be an action item when we get there.
Gotcha. So for item number 8B, I will entertain a motion to adopt the Ravenswood City School District initial proposal to the Ravenswood Teachers Association.
I will make a motion to adopt item 8B.
A second.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
President Latu,
Aye.
Vice President Shabomahin,
Aye.
Trustee Alexander,
Aye.
Trustee Polito,
Aye.
Trustee Bloom.
Aye.
The motion carries 5-0. Moving on to item 8C.
Thank you, President Latu. This item is the disclosure for CSEA and for the district for our initial proposals for our contract reopeners for 2021 and 21-22. So in 2021 and 21-22, the articles that will be open for negotiations with CSEA is Article 6, wages and benefits. And again, this is a discussion item that allows the Board of Trustees and also the public to provide any input on the initial proposals.
So I will open the floor to the board and to the public at this time. If you have any comment, you can use the raise hand function. As I see no hands, we will move on to item number 8D.
Thank you. And this is the item that is for board action. It's a consideration to adopt the district's initial proposals to CSEA for the contract reopeners.
So I will entertain a motion to adopt the Ravenswood City School District initial proposals to California School Employees Association, CSEA.
Through the chair, I'll make a motion to approve item 8D.
Thank you.
I'll second that motion.
Roll call, please.
President Latu,
Aye.
Vice President Shabomahin,
Aye.
Trustee Alexander,
Aye.
Trustee Polito,
Aye.
Trustee Bloom,
Aye.
And the motion carries 5-0. Moving on to item number 8E.
Thank you. This last item is a consideration to approve the assignment of Caroline Morales as a preschool special education teacher on the basis of a subsequent credential waiver. So Caroline had a credential waiver last year. This is a subsequent credential waiver. She will be eligible for an intern education specialist instruction credential once she completes the California basic skills requirement. She has satisfied the writing and reading portions of the CBEST and is looking to satisfy the math portion of the CBEST this fall. So this subsequent credential waiver will allow Ms. Morales additional time to complete the math portion while continuing to teach for Ravenswood. And Ms. Morales successfully taught with us since last December. She's completed 39 upper division semester units with a focus on early childhood special education. And again, she's continuing to work towards her Master of Arts and her teaching credential.
Thank you. I'll open the floor for any comment. See none, I will entertain a motion to approve the assignment of Caroline Morales as a preschool special education teacher.
Through the chair, I'll make a motion to approve item 8E.
Thank you.
I will second.
Roll call, please.
President Latu,
Aye.
Vice President Shabomehi,
Aye.
Trustee Alexander,
Aye.
Trustee Polito,
Aye.
Trustee Bloom,
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Tony. We will move on to item number 9, which is from the business department. And we will kick it off to you, Will.
Thank you, and good evening, trustees. I'd like to just talk quickly about a proposal that we have before us to bring on a surveying company to survey our community at some point over the next few months about a potential bond issuance in 2022. So just quickly walking through a couple of points here. So with the middle school construction set to begin sort of imminently, we are approaching the end of our available bond funds. So the middle school construction project, when complete, will basically take us through the end of Measure S and Measure H. At the same time, as I think the board is well aware, we've really, I think, sought a number of opportunities to minimize the burden on our community by seeking external funding opportunities for a number of different projects, as we'll sort of talk about in a moment. Despite that, I think as many of you have seen visiting schools over the last couple of days, we continue to have substantial and ongoing facility needs at all of our schools. There are, despite making, already about $40 million worth of investments and another 50 upcoming at the middle school, we still have real and large needs. And so because of that, and I think this is a direction of the board from earlier this year, we have been exploring going out for a school construction bond in the summer or fall of 2022. Specifically, I believe June or November, there are 2 elections cycle dates. As part of that, I think the sort of logical next step and the traditional next step, although I of course defer to the wisdom of people who've done this before, is to survey the community to understand if there is appetite within our community for going after another bond. So just to highlight, sort of put a little evidence and a little photos to those points, I do want to highlight the significant progress we made in renovating our campuses, whether that's new roofs, whether that's new windows in some of these classrooms, as you can see at the middle school, new furniture, new carpeting, new HVAC systems, and new playgrounds, which has been really wonderful for me, who hasn't really had a chance to see children on playgrounds, especially these new playgrounds, since starting during the pandemic. It's been wonderful to see sort of full playgrounds at schools over the last couple of days. At the same time that we're sort of making these improvements, I do want to highlight that we have, I think this is my right tally, about $50 million in opportunities that we're pursuing to improve our areas across our schools. That's, I think most largely and most notably the Castaño Field upgrade, We're hoping to hear back from the state in the next month or so. But we also have sort of explored very serious, big fundraising opportunities, the 8 to 80 zone, Magic Bridge, sort of competitive state grants like Prop 39, as well as smaller but very meaningful opportunities like the Jose Ibarra Garden at Bellhaven or the mini pitch, which is coming together. If you guys haven't seen that at Bellhaven yet, it's exciting. As well as a couple of sort of earlier stage opportunities. And at the same time, I know we've talked about this before, but we've had tenants move into our spaces, whether that's Brentwood, All Five, Silicon Valley International School, La Escuela, that the first thing they do is they put money into that site. And we've seen over the last couple of years, I think at least $35 million or so committed as part of these tenant improvements. Now, to be clear, we own that land, we own the resulting improvements, but I do think it's a powerful signal from these other organizations that the first thing that they do upon moving into space that we've had kids in is pour money into those classrooms. As mentioned before, the middle school project is the biggest chunk of the remaining funds. So Measure S and Measure H brought in about $96 million. We've spent about 35 or so. The middle school will take up about 50 or so. The total remaining funds is sort of rapidly shifting into this committed or required projects column. And so we're really kind of down to the last little bits here. And as we sort of continue to push, continue to work on improving things, we're rapidly approaching the end of the available bond funds, which we expect to be fully expended by the time we sort of cut the last check for the middle school. As part of Measure S and Measure H, we did create a list of sort of critical facility needs or desired projects with these funds. And I do want to highlight that we have about $20 million worth of projects that we're leaving on the table because construction inflation, existing projects, trying to bite off a little more than we can chew in some cases, just in terms of the desire to fix a lot of things. But we are leaving some money here, or we are leaving some projects sort of unfinished that we did hope to tackle as part of this last set of investments. And I think as you're walking around our campuses, you're probably noticing things. You're noticing uneven sidewalks or difficult paths of travel, potholes, areas that are below the existing floodplain, which we expect to only get worse, dry rot or sort of chip paint on areas, windows that aren't fully functioning, classrooms that don't have great HVAC systems, eyesores that are sort of results of sort of lack of coherent traffic flow that create a secure perimeter, and so that results in additional fencing. And we know that there's going to be more needs, right? We've seen at the middle school what modernized classrooms can look like and how exciting that is. We may need to do more flipped instruction. We may need to continue to upgrade the AV systems. We know through this pandemic and some of the ongoing wildfires, including some of the not particularly worrisome, but still noticeable air quality today, that we need more breathable spaces, quality green spaces. We need pathways that are accessible for students in wheelchairs. That's something that we're, I think, dangerously out of compliance with in a lot of our schools. I'd love to see us upgrade some of our kitchens, and I think we're going to go after some state grant opportunities to do that this year, where hopefully we can improve the meals we're serving and give our students a sort of broader variety of food. We also want to think about ways to create new play areas, new basketball courts, new gyms, tracks, auditoriums, to some of the exciting things that make school so much fun to go to for all of our students. I do want to highlight
There's
that
just all these
I'm sorry. I do want to highlight that even though it certainly feels like we've invested significantly in our schools, and to be clear, we have over the last couple of years through Measure S and Measure H, we're still a little bit below the average in San Mateo County. And some of that has to do with not necessarily raising as much funds as some of the other surrounding counties, surrounding districts between 1998 and 2012 was our first bond passage. I'm not quite sure of the year there, but over that sort of 14-year period or so. And so we still have, I think, a little bit of a ways to go, whether we look at sort of what our other districts are doing, as well as what we're working on. And so I do want to highlight that, at the direction of the board and with support of the board, both the facilities subcommittee and sort of our internal bond working group, we are further exploring our facility needs. We're trying to figure out, what projects, if we were to go out for another bond, should we prioritize? How much more funding would we need to make our schools all uniformly excellent facilities? And what's the best path forward to do that? Is that another bond? Is that really sort of looking under a couple other couch cushions to find more state money or philanthropic sources? What do we really want? What does our community really want? As part of that effort, one of the first things that we did at some of the advice of one of our trustees is to go figure out the appetite in our community. And so as part of that, we solicited proposals from multiple public surveying companies. FM3 came in at sort of the lowest cost, and they also had done our prior 2 surveys prior to our last couple bond issuances. And the results from those surveys were largely accurate with how the actual votes tallied up. So I think they're both likely make the most sense, likely do have a demonstrated track record of success in our community, and are the lowest cost, which is a pretty good combination in my mind. What our sort of next steps here are, if the board approves this a proposal tonight, we'll proceed with the survey sometime likely before the holidays, but kind of after Thanksgiving. We'll then bring the results back to the board to help you all make an informed decision about if this is something we'd like to proceed with sometime either this summer of 2022 or the fall of 2022. I apologize for talking so fast. I tried to cover a lot of ground reasonably quickly, but if there's any questions I can answer, or things that I misspoke on or misstepped on, please let me know. Happy to help however I can.
At this time, I'll open the floor if there's any comment from the board.
Through the chair.
Vice President Shabomaheen.
Thank you. This is my first time being involved in, potentially putting a bond on the ballot. I think my personal opinion, I don't know if I should share or not, but I'm wondering if we could bypass. I think it's a great idea to survey the community to figure out if the support is there, but I'm wondering about the cost of the survey. I don't know if I missed the number, Mr. Eager, or not, but I don't think you said it.
It varies. Thank you for keep me on my toes on that one. It varies slightly by the specific amount of questions we have and the number of people we seek to poll, but it was sort of in the $25,000 range or so. I can pull up the specific proposal now.
Thank you. And so then I'm wondering, for those who've got a bit more experience, is that cost worth it? Or is it something where we could discuss, maybe engage on our own and, our community of parents and families and community partners, and see, and come to a decision and save the money. But again, I'm inexperienced in this, so.
Through the chair.
Trustee Polito.
It's been my experience that this process is very helpful. Probably Will could also share where that money would come from, which would probably help ease some of the financial concern burden. But, going out for a bond is a huge undertaking. And although we're all connected to community members, there's a lot of voters. So who we know in the community doesn't always translate who's voting at the ballots, right? So when we think about a huge undertaking like going for a bond, it does require, in my opinion, a level of analysis to determine, is this the right time? Because what we don't want, we've been fortunate enough to have the support of our community both times we went out for a bond. Once you fail at the ballot, your stats change as far as going back out again and getting the support later on, right? So I think for us in our experience of doing it, it was helpful. Can it be done without it? Yes, I would say yes, it can be done without it. How that affects the success of it, I haven't seen there is a way we can approach it. I mean, I want to remind us also that, you know, a lot of the work is going to be whoever's on the bond committee. So the other way to do it is to hold a series of, for example, community meetings and get input and feedback and get people in the community involved. That's also going to be its own huge task. So, I mean, is there different ways to approach this? Yes. But is information helpful to have to think about timing and strategy and success rate? I will also say yes to that. But Trustee Chabot, it's not to say that it can't be done any other way, but I do believe that it was helpful to the process as far as when we've done it the past 2 times. But am I wrong to say, Will, that money is actually, we're able to use some of the bond money to pay for that? Or do we have to go to the, like, how are we paying for this?
Through the chair, my understanding here, and we can double check this, Trustee Polito, I do believe this does need to be a general fund expense or a ref expense. So we could try and sort of find ways to get this outside grant funded. The plan was from the general fund, but I can double check to make sure that bond funds could not be used, or confirm that bond funds could not be used for this. That was my understanding.
Got it. Okay. So there's that. But we could definitely do a grassroots. I think we can do a grassroots approach. It's just, it's going to take a lot of time and effort from everyone we see here to really have that happen. That would be my only feedback. But do I think it's possible? Yes. Has it been helpful in the past? Yes, also. I don't recall if we paid through general funds, but it'll be interesting to look back on that expense and see where we pulled money from.
I would highlight, Trustee Polito, just echo something that you said, which I think was, I believe last time you guys pursued this, part of the reason you did that was to also test different messaging and sort of go more in depth around people are interested in. It's not a simple, you know, if we did a bond, would you vote for it? We use the survey instrument to get a better understanding of the specific amount of the bond, and also to help sort of understand various messaging approaches that might resonate with the community. You know, for example, is it helpful to know that a third of the money from a bond is actually paid for by residents versus commercial interests in EPA? Or is it helpful to understand, you know, people are really excited about HVAC systems versus new technology versus modernizing classrooms versus higher quality outdoor green space? Things that are, I think, hard for us to pick up in either smaller group conversations like focus groups, which I do think we'll need to do, or in a you know, Google form type survey on, you know, EPA neighbors kind of thing, right? I think is why the board's gone this direction the last 2 bonds.
You're correct.
Any other comment? I see none. Thank you, Will. We will move on to item number 10, which is from the Board of Trustees. Wait. Just
It's
kidding.
an action
This is
item.
an action item.
Yes.
Caught myself. So I will entertain a motion to approve the contract with FM3 to conduct voter research survey.
I will make a motion to approve item 9A, consideration to approve the contract with FM3.
I will second that motion.
Roll call, please.
President Latu,
Aye.
Vice President Shabomahin,
Aye.
Trustee Alexander,
I, knowing it's a lot of money.
Trustee Polito,
Aye.
Trustee Bloom.
Aye.
And the motion carries 5-0. Moving on to item number 10, which is from the Board of Trustees, We will jump down to item number 10B, which is the performance evaluation. As highlighted, it is part of our contract to uphold a evaluation on our superintendent. So just to report back to the community that we did administer the evaluation for our superintendent last year, and it came back satisfactory. And that is it. Moving on to item number 10C. I apologize. There's any comment? No comment because this is a report, sorry. Moving on to 10C, which is the second reading and action uniform complaint procedure.
There's actually several board policies here and administrative regulations that were provided to the trustees the last board meeting for first reading. So this is the second reading and action.
Oh, and action. And action? Question mark?
Yes. 10A, board policy revision, second reading and action.
For item number 10A, we don't take action unless board members absent.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were on 10C.
10C.
Oh, yeah, 10C. Okay, reading and action. I didn't see that second part. So I will entertain a motion for item number 10C.
Through the chair, I'll make a motion to approve item 10C.
Thank you.
I will second.
Roll call, please.
President Latu,
Aye.
Vice President Shibomihim,
Aye.
Trustee Alexander,
Aye.
Trustee Polito,
Aye.
Trustee Bloom.
Aye.
And the motion carries 5-0. We will move on to item number 10D, which is any board reports or communications from the board.
I have just one quick thing. I have want to let the community know. I know there's not a lot of members of the community so here, but you can get the word out. Every Monday before the board meeting, it's a Monday of board meeting weeks. I am holding open office hours. So I'll have a Zoom link. It'll be open, I believe, from 6 to 6:30. That Zoom link is on the board members page on the district website, ravenswoodschools.org.
Thank you. Any other board reports?
I wanted to say this last meeting, so it might feel like it's old, but during the summer, I got to go to the closing ceremonies at Bellhaven for the Big Lift program for the little kinders and pre-Kers, and there were also elementary school people there as well. I just want to say the summer, I know that Gina talked about it last week, or two weeks ago at this point. Summer programs were amazing. Those kids were amazing. I got to hear the penguin dance, even though I wasn't with my kids. So that was really fun to even see the teachers dancing it. They all had a lot of fun, and all the parents that were there, whether they were Ravenswood parents or not, they were so excited at how much their kids got to learn and got to participate with the group. So it was great to be there and see that, and see all of the ways that I know there were summer programs at many campuses. And so it was just a really good program. And I just wanted to say that as well.
Thank you. I had the privilege of visiting all of our school sites, and it was a great experience. Well done to the staff, well done to our district staff, well done to our families. We were able to reopen and bring back our students in a safe manner. And it's just an amazing process that we're able to still be present in school. And so I just wanted to make sure that I took this time to really thank each and every one of you for playing your part and really showing up for Ravenswood. And I've only been hearing great things. So I hope that we continue to work together to be able to do what we're doing right now. So great job, everyone. If there are no other speakers, I will move on to 10E. We will be having a closed session board retreat, special board meeting that will be held August 28th from 8 a.m. in the morning to 11 a.m. Exciting times. And then also our next regular board meeting will be held on September 9th at 6:30 p.m. Virtual. We had some issues with sound during our previous meeting, so we are back to being virtual until further notice. And in record time at 8:16 p.m., I will adjourn the Ravenswood City School District Governing Board meeting of August 26th. Thank you. Have a safe night. Take care, everyone.
Thank you, Ravenswood team. Thank you, trustees.
Bye. Have a good night.
Bye.
Right.